A terrible war is starting. The U.S. is sinking its own billion-dollar ships, and the American aircraft carrier USS Nimitz is moored in a high-risk area in the South China Sea. Why would such a huge ship carrying 50 jet fighters come so close to China? Let's remember that China's recently been provoking the USA to take decisive action. They launch a spy drone here, sink a submarine there. Take, for example, the recent incident in Canada when the military spotted and destroyed an unknown flying object circling around Lake Huron. The Pentagon immediately sent a fighter to intercept, and the object was brought down with one well-placed strike. The U.S. government immediately suspected China and accused them of espionage, although China denies any involvement. The next occurrence, however, will blow you away. The American nuclear submarine Connecticut collided with an unknown object in the South China Sea. That's according to the military themselves. An official statement claimed that at the time of the collision, the Connecticut was submerged in neutral waters near China. The submarine was significantly damaged during the incident, and 11 submariners were injured. Many say that the submarine was actually attacked by a Chinese ship, but they've refused to say any more about it. Of course, after actions like these, the United States decided to flex its muscle and send a nuclear-armed aircraft carrier to China's shores to calm their aggression. The U.S. Navy's Nimitz is one of the largest and most powerful aircraft carriers in the world. It was named after Admiral Chester Nimitz, a famous naval commander. Now the aircraft carrier can single-handedly obliterate the enemy's coastline. But the U.S. has no plans to stop there. More and more of their ships continue to arrive in the open waters of the South China Sea. Among these are USS Ross destroyers armed with hypersonic missiles, as well as Ohio and Virginia-class submarines whose nuclear power is a powerful trump card and a strong lever of pressure on China. But of course, the backbone of this fleet is the Nimitz, the flagship of its class. It has a displacement of over 100,000 tons and is capable of reaching speeds of up to 30 knots thanks to its 2 nuclear reactors.
It's an amazing capability that we have on this ship with the latest combat systems upgrade in the United States Navy.
The deck of the ship covers an area of 300,000 square feet. To give you a better idea of that scale, the Nimitz could easily fit 5,600 cars on its deck. There are 90 aircraft of various types on board, including fighters, bombers, and reconnaissance aircraft, even the latest F-35 Lightning II and the upgraded F-16 with laser weapons.
This ship is so different from any other ship that I've ever been on, and that holds true for all of our sailors. You know, no matter how many aircraft carriers you've been on before, you've never been on a Ford-class aircraft carrier.
But let's be honest. China knows that their enemy is near and is clearly preparing to defend itself. And the Chinese certainly have something to defend themselves with, as they have created the world's first unmanned aircraft carrier that can control an entire swarm of combat drones. The Type 3 is a unique invention that'll have to step up to the plate if the tension between America and China escalates anymore. This aircraft carrier will be protected by 40 Shenyang J-31 fighters, as well as a whole swarm of combat drones. Among them are flying kamikazes, scouts, and bombers, as well as unmanned submarines carrying nuclear weapons. The list of flying drones may include giants like the WZ-7 Soaring Dragon and the Wing Lung II. The former is capable of reconnaissance up to 6,000 miles away at an altitude of over 11 miles, and the latter is an attack drone with 12 laser-guided missiles. All of this will be controlled by a unified artificial intelligence capable of coordinating launch, movement, and return to the carrier. It all sounds impressive, of course, but there's only one of those ships, and its systems haven't been fully tested yet. So whether it can defend China remains to be seen. But China may not even need to defend itself since the U.S. is single-handedly destroying its own billion-dollar ships. And no, that's not a joke. The Pentagon really is conducting durability tests on its ships, and that includes destroying them. These tests allow for an assessment of a ship's ability to withstand extreme loads and combat conditions. In the U.S., there are special organizations that develop and test new types of weapons for these experiments. How else are you supposed to find out that a new maneuvering torpedo can actually destroy an enemy? By destroying your own ship. There are also cases when a ship's air defenses need to be tested. For example, the Phalanx Seawiz pseudo-laser machine gun.
LPWS is the weapon system you see in front of you. It's designed to shoot down incoming rockets and mortars coming into the FOB.
During testing, the gun was able to detonate a passing airplane and the bomb it had dropped, but it couldn't handle a hypersonic missile. Thus, billions of dollars along with thousands of pounds of scrap metal sank to the ocean floor. But perhaps the most destruction occurred during a nuclear weapons test known as Operation Crossroads. As part of the operation, 2 nuclear explosions were tested above the water, directly above 2 warships. This was done to see how the ships would react during a nuclear attack. As a result, one ship was completely destroyed and the other was seriously damaged, so much that it had to be sunk to the bottom to become a new home for underwater creatures. I wonder how they're doing there. But now let's take a look at the crazy life of sailors on board the world's largest aircraft carrier, which costs $13 billion. Life for active duty sailors is complicated and unpredictable, requiring a high level of discipline and a strict regimen. Working on an aircraft carrier requires not only maritime experience and skills, but also the ability to adapt to life on board, which is very, very different from life on land.
We are a floating city at sea. We serve as an airport. We make our own water, our propulsion. We have 9 restaurants.
Imagine spending an entire year in the middle of the vast ocean, surrounded by deadly weapons and a huge nuclear reactor directly behind you. You can't even go to the store to get your favorite cookie. Now that's a real problem. Okay, that's all a joke. The reality is that life on the aircraft carrier is quite diverse, as much as it can be within the limits of a 1,080 by 260-foot deck. A defining feature of life on an aircraft carrier is work. The carrier team consists of many specialists, including pilots, mechanics, engineers, communications operators, and commanding officers. Each crew member has their own responsibilities regarding a specific aspect of the carrier's operation. This entails a strict daily schedule, which every sailor must follow. It includes work, leisure, and exercise. The schedule can be quite demanding, especially during combat operations or exercises.
What we're doing out here is about a month-long exercise. It's very intense, and it's called Comp 2X.
Another important aspect of life on board an aircraft carrier is safety. All crew members must be prepared for possible emergencies, such as fires, flooding, accidents, and so on. Drills and exercises are conducted regularly to ensure that the crew is ready to act in any situation. For example, on board the Nimitz aircraft carrier, there are systems in place to protect against nuclear, biological, and chemical attacks so sailors can feel safe. After work and intense training, sailors are allowed to relax and unwind. There's a state-of-the-art gym on board for sports enthusiasts and an extensive library for those who want to develop themselves mentally. One can also hang out with colleagues and play board games, Xbox, or even watch a movie in a real movie theater. Admittedly, life on board the Nimitz can be challenging, but it's also fascinating. It requires high discipline and a strict routine, as well as the opportunity to work in a team with highly skilled professionals and take part in important missions to ensure the safety of one's country. That